네, 시작에 앞서 음향 먼저 확인하겠습니다. 타오이안에 계신 여러분 잘 들리시나요? 잘 들리신다면 머리 위로 동그라미 부탁드립니다.
Before we begin, we'll check the sound. So everyone in Taoyuan, can you hear us well? If you can, please make a circle above your head. A circle? Can you hear us well?
네, 감사합니다.
Okay, thank you.
청소년 국제교류 사업에 많은 관심을 가지고 계신 인천광역시와 타오이안시의 청소년 여러분, 관계자 여러분, 2022 인천 타오이안 청소년 SDGs 포럼에 함께해 주셔서 감사합니다.
Dear youth of Incheon Metropolitan City and Taoyuan City who have much interest in international youth exchange projects and relevant officials, thank you for joining 2022 Incheon-Taoyuan Youth SDGs Forum.
본 행사는 인천광역시와 우호결연 도시인 타오이안시와 함께 청소년의 글로벌 역량을 향상하고 양 도시의 침선을 도모하기 위해 개최되었습니다.
This event is being hosted in order to nurture the global capabilities of the youth of Incheon and Taoyuan and further strengthen our amicable relationships.
지속되는 코로나19 확산 상황에 따라 양 도시의 만남은 온라인 화상회의를 통해 진행되며 유튜브 인천광역시 청소년활동진흥센터 채널을 통해서도 생중계되고 있습니다.
Due to the continuing spread of COVID-19, the meetings between the two cities are taking place via video conferencing, and it is available live through the YouTube channel Incheon Youth Service Center.
포럼 현장에 계신 모든 분들께서는 행사의 원활한 진행을 위해 휴대폰은 무음으로 바꿔주시기를 바라며 대화는 가급적 자제 부탁드립니다.
For the event to proceed smoothly, please put your mobile phones on vibration mode and refrain from speaking.
그럼 지금부터 인천광역시와 타오이안시가 주최하고 인천광역시 청소년활동진흥센터와 타오이안시리 핑젠고등학교가 주관하는 2022 인천 타오이안 청소년 SDGs 포럼 개회식을 시작하겠습니다.
From now on, we will begin the official opening ceremony of Incheon-Taoyuan Youth SDGs Forum hosted by Incheon Metropolitan City and Taoyuan City, co-organized by Incheon Youth Service Center and Taoyuan Municipal Pingjen Senior High School.
먼저 오늘 포럼에 함께 하시는 내빈 및 참석자분들을 소개하겠습니다. 호명되는 분들께서는 화면을 향해 손을 흔들어 인사해 주시기 바랍니다.
First, I'd like to introduce the distinguished guests and participants. If your name is called, please wave your hand to the screen.
인천광역시 청소년정책과의 손미화 과장님을 비롯한 담당 공무원분들 참석해 주셨습니다.
We have Son Mi-hwa, Director of Adolescence Policy Division of Incheon Metropolitan City and relevant government officials.
네, 그리고 인천광역시 청소년활동진흥센터의 지경호 센터장님을 비롯한 직원분들 참석하셨습니다.
We have Ji Kyung-ho, Director of Incheon Youth Service Center and staff members.
그리고 타오이안시리 핑젠고등학교 교장선생님을 비롯한 담당 선생님들께서 참석해 주셨습니다.
We have Principal Hu Tang-min from Taoyuan Pingjen Senior High School and teachers.
네, 그리고 오늘의 주인공인 청소년 여러분을 소개하겠습니다.
And the star of today's event, let me introduce our youth.
먼저 인천광역시를 대표하는 청소년 12명이 참석해 주셨습니다.
We have 12 youth representing Incheon Metropolitan City.
네, 그리고 타오이안을 대표하는 청소년 17분이 참석해 주셨습니다.
And we have 17 youth representing Taoyuan City.
네, 그리고 오늘 포럼의 주관 기관인 인천광역시 청소년활동진흥센터 지경호 센터장님의 인사 말씀을 시작으로 이번 포럼에 지대한 관심과 성원을 보내주신 귀한 분들을 영상으로 만나보려고 합니다.
So first, with the opening remarks of Director Ji Kyung-ho of Incheon Youth Service Center, the organizing institution of today's event, we will meet the distinguished participants of today's forum who sent much support and interest via video.
격려사는 인천광역시 여성가족국 손미화 청소년정책과장님, 축사는 타오유안 시립 핑젠고등학교 슈탕미 교장선생님이 해주시겠습니다.
Son Mi-hwa, Director of Adolescence Policy Division in Incheon Metropolitan City, will be giving the encouragement remarks. And Soo Tong-min, Principal of Taoyuan Pingjen Senior High School, will be giving the congratulatory remarks.
그럼 지금 바로 영상 시작하겠습니다.
So the video will begin, so please look at the video.
사랑하는 인천 청소년 여러분, 그리고 반가운 타오유안 청소년 여러분, 안녕하세요. 인천광역시 청소년활동진흥센터장 지경호입니다. 끝나지 않은 팬데믹 상황으로 인해 올해에도 온라인으로 만나게 되었지만 서로에 대한 반가움은 우리 모두 한마음일 것입니다. 이번 교류활동에서는 양 도시의 청소년들이 지속가능한 세상에 대해 서로 이야기를 나누고 스스로 약속을 정해 실천하는 경험을 합니다. 그리고 세계 공용어인 영어를 활용하여 서로 교류하고 발표도 준비하면서 언어의 장벽을 넘어 지구촌 문제를 다양한 시각으로 바라보게 됩니다. 이 모든 과정을 통해 청소년 여러분은 주체적인 세계 시민으로서 한 걸음 더 성장할 수 있게 될 것입니다. 그리고 과거부터 현재까지 우정을 나눈 인천광역시와 타오유안시도 미래의 우정도 다짐하는 뜻깊은 자리가 되길 바라며 어려운 상황 속에서도 이처럼 귀중한 시간이 마련될 수 있도록 적극적으로 지원해 주신 타오유안시립 핑젠 고등학교의 슈탕민 교장 선생님을 비롯한 담당 선생님들께 감사 말씀드립니다. 그리고 인천광역시의 적극적인 지원과 손미아 청소년 정책과장님의 따뜻한 관심에도 감사의 마음을 전합니다. 인천광역시 청소년활동진흥센터에서는 앞으로도 유익하고 즐거운 청소년 국제교류가 이루어질 수 있도록 최선을 다하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
사랑하는 인천 청소년 여러분, 그리고 타오유안 청소년 여러분, 코로나19로 인해 영상으로 만나서 아쉬움은 있지만 이렇게 만날 수 있어서 반갑습니다. 저는 인천광역시 청소년 정책과장 손미아입니다. 2009년 체결된 양국의 의호결연을 시작으로 인천광역시와 타오유안의 인연이 올해로 13년째 이어져 오고 있습니다. 여전히 코로나19 상황이지만 이렇게 온라인으로라도 오랜 이웃인 타오유안시 청소년들과 만날 수 있어 매우 기쁩니다. 특히 올해는 국제사회의 최대 공동 목표인 지속가능 발전 목표를 주제로 포럼을 개최하고 인천과 타오유안의 청소년들이 지속가능한 세상에 대해 함께 이야기를 나눌 수 있어 참으로 뜻깊은 시간이 될 것입니다. 양 도시의 청소년들이 서로의 다양한 생각을 알아가고 견문을 넓힐 수 있는 귀중한 시간이 될 것이며 또한 청소년들 서로가 소중함을 느끼는 친선의 장이 되기를 기대합니다. 오늘 이렇게 뜻깊은 자리가 마련될 수 있도록 애써주신 인천광역시 청소년활동진흥센터 지경호 센터장님을 비롯한 직원 여러분과 타오유안시 관계자 여러분, 그리고 타오유안 시립 핑젠고등학교 슈탕민 교장 선생님과 담당 선생님들께도 감사의 마음을 전합니다. 끝으로 하루빨리 글로벌 팬데믹 상황이 종료되어 직접 만나볼 수 있기를 기대하면서 오늘 포럼을 시작으로 앞으로도 양 도시의 청소년들이 더욱 활발하고 의미 있는 교류가 이루어지도록 우리 인천광역시에서도 최선을 다하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
大家好，我是平镇高中校长许唐敏，很高兴今日能以视讯方式跟大家说说话。平镇高中位于桃园市的南区，是一所优质的社区高中，创校至今22周年，全校共48班，学生近1700位，是一所多元发展的学校，以培育学生创新自主、适性多元、国际视野为愿景，在升学、棒球、跆拳道、射击、田径、美术、管乐以及各项学科竞赛都有卓越表现。发展国际观是全球化的趋势，培养学生全球移动能力，推展国际文化体验，观摩学习国际教育优势，与教导学生尊重不同族群，是本校学生学习的重要课题。当然，也希望透过交流提升外语能力。从2012年开始，和贵单位互动交流，已有10个年头了。可惜的是，在这近3年，因 COVID-19 疫情，让学生无法出国参访，深感遗憾。但我们能真心期待，未来能继续实体互访交流，让双方的学习环境与教育资源都能彼此受益满满。最后，敬祝各位健康、平安、喜乐，事事顺心。谢谢大家。
네, 감사합니다.
Thank you.
다음은 타오이안 청소년 베티의 환영사가 준비되어 있다고 합니다.
So next is the welcoming remarks by Taoyuan Youth, Betty.
들어보겠습니다. 베티 환영사 준비되었을까요?
So next will be Betty's welcoming remarks.
Hello.
Hello.
大家好，我是平镇高中的致辞代表彭靖宇。首先，我们很感谢有这个机会能参与此次的线上交流活动。
여러분 안녕하십니까? 저는 팽전 고등학교 학생대표 정진유라고 합니다. 우선 이번 온라인 교류회에 참여할 수 있는 것에 진심으로 감사드립니다.
借由此活动，让台韩两国的学生更了解彼此的生活，也扩展了我们的国际视野。
이번 교류회로 양교의 학생들이 서로 공부할 수 있는 기회가 될 것이며 국제적 시야를 높일 수 있을 겁니다.
这次我们探讨了联合国永续经营发展的主题，由报告的方式互相分享两国学生对此议题的想法。
이번 교류회의는 응축 발전을 주제로 발표하고 서로의 의견을 나누는 시간을 가지겠습니다.
Sorry, excuse me. I think
不
you
仅让我
have
们
to...
更认识 SDGs， 也让我们能共同思考，在未来如何让人类与地球共荣并永续发展。
잠깐만요. 잘 들리시나요?
혹시 괜찮으시면 그
네.
말씀하실 때 마이크를 다른 그
네.
친구가 말할 때는 마이크를 꺼주시고 이렇게 서로 번갈아서 해주실 수 있을까요?
그러면 제가 그 학생 쪽으로
지금 이
알겠습니다.
상태로 하면 될 것 같습니다.
진짜요?
네네.
네, 알겠습니다.
네, 다시 해주시면
그럼-
됩니다.
네. 이번 교류회에는 유엔 영축 발전을 주제로 발표하고 서로의 의견을 나누는 시간을 가지겠습니다. 발표를 준비하면서 SDGs의 중요성을 깊게 깨달았을 뿐만 아니라 인류들이 어떻게 지구와 공존하며 영속 발전하는지 생각하게 됐습니다.
在去年11月时，我们也与仁川市的学生进行了线上交流活动。
작년 11월에도 인천광역시의 학생들과 온라인 교류회를 했습니다.
我们了解了双方高中生的校园生活，还有各自城市的旅游景点及特色。
서로의 고등학교 생활과 양교 위치한 도시의 여행지 소개로 소중한 시간이었습니다.
是个非常有趣且宝贵的经验，让我们对韩国有了多一分的了解，也使我们更想亲自造访韩国。
한국을 조금이라도 더 알수록 직접 가보고 싶어졌습니다.
希望在明年我们能有机会实际探访仁川市，与韩国的学生们进行实体的交流。
언젠가 한국에서 대면 교류를 할 수 있으면 좋겠습니다.
最后，希望大家都能享受今天的活动，并一起留下美好的回忆。我们期待在不久的将来能亲自到访各自的国家，见到彼此。谢谢。
마지막으로 오늘 교류회에서 다 같이 즐기고 좋은 추억만 남기기를 바라겠으며 멀지 않은 미래에 우리가 한국 혹은 대만에서 만날 수 있는 날을 기다립니다. 감사합니다.
네, 베티 올해에도 한 번 더 활동에 참여해 주셔서 감사합니다.
Thank you for participating in this year's activities, Betty.
네, 그리고 오늘 포럼의 성공적인 개최를 위해 따뜻한 응원을 보내주신 모든 분들께 다시 한번 진심으로 감사 마음을 전합니다.
And I would like to thank everyone for your warm support for the successful hosting of today's event.
다음은 양 도시의 교류를 기념하는 기념품 교환식이 있겠습니다.
Next will be gift exchange to commemorate the exchanges between the two cities.
네, 먼저 인천광역시에서는 타오유안시를 위해 한국의 전통검인 사인검을 보냈습니다.
So Incheon Metropolitan City prepared the Korean traditional sword, Black Tiger Sword.
12간지 중 호랑이를 뜻하는 인년, 인월, 인일, 인시에 만들기 때문에 사인검이라고 불리며 나쁜 기운을 물리치는 역할을 합니다.
So it was made in the year, month, and time of the tiger among 12 zodiac animals, and that's why it's called the Black Tiger Sword, and it drives off evil spirits.
그리고 타오유안시 청소년들을 위해서는 한국의 천연 기념물인 점박이 물범을 모티브로 하는 인천광역시의 마스코트 캐릭터 USB와 마그넷 등의 소품을 선물로 보내드렸습니다.
And for the youth of Taoyuan, we sent the mascot of Incheon Metropolitan City, the USB with this mascot, and we also, this mascot uses the Korean national treasure, spotted seal, and we also sent magnets.
네, 그리고 타오이안시에서는 인천광역시를 위해 기념 접시를 보내주셨습니다.
From Taoyuan, Incheon Metropolitan City received a special dish.
접시에 그려진 과일은 리치이며 우정과 건강을 상징합니다.
The fruit on the dish is lychee, which symbolizes friendship and health.
그리고 인천광역시의 청소년들을 위해서 대만의 과자와 소품들을 보내주셨습니다.
We also received Taiwan's confectionery and souvenirs.
두 도시의 교류를 기념하며 모두 큰 박수 부탁드립니다.
So, everyone, a big round of applause to commemorate the exchanges between the two cities.
인천광역시와 타오이안시가 앞으로도 돈독한 우정을 나눌 수 있었으면 좋겠습니다.
We hope this strong friendship between Incheon and Taoyuan continues.
그럼 이것으로 개회식을 마치겠습니다.
So this was the opening ceremony.
본격적인 포럼에 앞서 기조 연설이 있겠습니다.
And before we begin the forum, there will be a keynote speech.
기조 연설은 GCF 녹색기후기금에서 준비해 주셨습니다.
GCF will be giving the keynote speech.
GCF는 개발도상국의 온실가스 감축과 기후변화 적응을 지원하기 위한 국제기구로서 UN 기후변화 협약의 재원 운영 주체입니다.
GCF is an international organization that supports the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions and climate change adoption of developing countries, and it is the operating entity of the funding for UN Convention on Climate Change.
대형 국제기구 중에는 처음으로 한국의 사무국이 유치되었으며 현재 인천 송도 지역에 그 사무국이 있습니다.
It was the first large international organization that established a secretariat in Korea, and it is currently located in Songdo, Incheon.
오늘 기조 연설을 통해 SDGs의 5가지 의제인 인간, 지구, 번영, 평화, 파트너십 중 지구에 대해서 이야기하고 우리가 앞으로 나아가야 할 방향에 대해서 말씀해 주신다고 합니다.
Through the keynote speech, they will discuss the 5 agenda of SDGs, which is people, planet, prosperity, peace, partnership, and planet, and the direction we should follow.
연사로는 GCF 대외 업무과 파트너십 지원 전문가로 계신 데런 카자마 님이 함께 해주셨습니다.
Darren Karjama, Partnerships and Outreach Specialist from Division of External Affairs, will be giving the keynote speech.
그럼 영상으로 만나보겠습니다.
So let's meet through the video.
Hello, everyone. Greetings from the Green Climate Fund. Thank you to the City of Incheon for inviting the Green Climate Fund to speak today as part of this 2022 International Youth Exchange. My name is Darren Karjama. Together with over 300 colleagues, I work right here in Incheon for the world's largest climate fund, the Green Climate Fund, or GCF. I'm so happy to be speaking with a group representing the next generation, thinking about really big ideas on people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnerships. Although it may not feel like it now, you will shape the future of our planet. The choices that you take, the mindset and attitude you bring to how you will live your life will have an impact on our planet and on one another. What do I mean by that? Everywhere you look here in Incheon, you see construction, new buildings, new wider roads, new subways and train lines, but also the planting of new trees, the blazing of new hiking trails, and the opening of new shared spaces. This growth is not just here in Incheon or in Korea, but across the whole world, particularly in developing countries. Each of these pieces of construction has an impact on our environment through the materials that they use to construct. But more importantly, big projects like roads, airports, subway systems, schools, they shape our behaviors and the way that we live for a very long time into the future, sometimes for hundreds of years. They put us on what's called a path dependency. The larger a construction project is, the more resources it will take to build in the short term, but it will also lock us into relying on them to go about our daily routines. Over the past 150 years, companies, committees, and governments who have been making the biggest decisions on our economic model have been locking us into an economic growth path that depends on consuming more resources than our planet is capable of sustaining. Today, the consumption behaviors of the world's population are already exceeding the limits of what our planet's land, its oceans, and its atmosphere are able to sustain long term. So much so that we would require nearly 2 full-size planet Earths of resources to sustainably continue on as we are today. Not only that, but the impact of this overconsumption is actually changing the chemistry of the atmosphere around us, which is leading to the warming of the planet. This is climate change. Many scientists recognized this problem over 30 years ago. Now, some of you will have heard of the Paris Climate Agreement that was signed 7 years ago, back in 2015. It is a commitment by nearly every national government to take decisive action to change the way their economies operate, to reduce and to ultimately eliminate their negative impact on the planet by the middle of this century. By then, in the year 2050, I will have just retired and will be looking towards spending more time with my grandchildren. But you will probably be about the same age as I am now, in the middle of your careers. This commitment by governments under the Paris Climate Agreement to find new ways of working that use less resources while still driving economic growth. This will shape your entire working careers and the way that you live your lives. To build this new model of economic growth, we need a big change in the way that we assess big investments into our infrastructure and the systems that we choose. Building big things, it takes money, sometimes a lot of it. And today, sustainable things like electric cars and buses, offshore wind farms, or super efficient office buildings, they do cost more to build than the less sustainable alternatives, even though they are far less expensive to operate over a 10 to 20 year period. As the world's largest climate-focused fund, the Green Climate Fund where I work, we bring together players from across governments and companies to support them in building big projects that are green and to create totally new green markets that work for developing nations and not against them. Our approach to creating a shift towards low carbon and climate resilient development is centered around 4 things. The first is that we help governments to develop long-term strategies and plans to guide them through the transition towards a green economy in line with the goals of the Paris Agreement. We help them in writing policies to encourage power generation to come from renewable sources, to lower the cost of purchasing electric buses, to strengthen building code regulations to require all new towers to be super energy efficient, and in many other ways. The second is that we help accelerate climate innovation through investments in new and innovative technologies, business models, financial instruments, and practices. This helps to take a great idea from a university laboratory to pilot it in the real world somewhere. The third way is by lowering the risk hurdle to allow investments in new, unproven markets and technologies and mobilize finance at scale. So we help to take a big solar project to become a huge multi-country solar project. And the fourth way is in helping to align finance and sustainable development by empowering banks and other financing institutions in developing countries to finance new climate innovations and solutions. At GCF, we invest over $3 billion per year into supporting developing countries to make the transition in their economies to be more sustainable. That's a lot of money, and it delivers a lot of impact towards that goal. But you might be asking yourself, what can you do in your everyday life to put us on a pathway towards a sustainable and prosperous future? There are little actions that you can take every day that can help, like recycling, conserving water, lowering your food waste, using less air conditioning in the summer, or in taking public transport. Your parents would probably like you to do all of those things too. But not that far into the future, you'll also have the power to take much larger action once you're out into the workforce and old enough to vote. When you start working and buying yourself things, you may spend $1,500 on a big vacation, or thousands of dollars a year on owning a car and paying rent. These things are expensive, but one of the largest purchases you will make each year for your entire working life will be your purchase of government services by way of the taxes that you pay on your income and in everything that you buy. Those taxes will pay for those big items that will shape the future path dependency. They will also pay for the government that will have the power to steer the economy towards a more sustainable economy. You will also be able to vote for representatives in your government who are trusted to take your decisions that determine the sustainability of the economy as a whole. Your voice today and your votes tomorrow will be a powerful tool to keep your government accountable. So use that. Use it together with your everyday choices on how to live sustainably to build the future world that this world needs. Thank you all, including Incheon City, for inviting us to contribute towards this event. We wish you a great rest of your day and a successful and safe weekend. 감사합니다.
네. 협조해주신 GCF 관계자 여러분께 다시 한번 감사 말씀드립니다.
Our gratitude goes to the GCF officials for their cooperation.
양 도시의 청소년 여러분도 기조연설을 들으며 미래 세계의 주역으로서 가져야 할 마음가짐에 대해 다시 한번 생각해보는 기회가 되었기를 바랍니다.
I hope the keynote speech served as an opportunity for the youth of both cities to think about what you should do as leaders of the future generations.
이어서 SDGs에 대한 청소년들의 생각을 들어볼 시간입니다.
Next, we'll listen to the thoughts of our youth regarding SDGs.
양 도시의 청소년들은 SDGs에 대한 주요 목표 17개 중에서 각자 원하는 주제를 선정하여 발표를 준비했습니다.
Among the 17 goals of SDGs, the youth of the two cities selected the goals they wish to cover and prepared presentations.
모든 발표가 끝나고 나면 질의응답 시간이 마련되어 있으므로 메모해 두셨다가 질문 부탁드립니다.
We also have a Q&A session after all presentations, so please take notes and ask your questions later.
포럼 현장 참석자뿐만 아니라 유튜브 생중계를 보고 계신 분들께서도 채팅창으로 함께 질문하실 수 있습니다.
Not only the participants on site, but also those joining live on YouTube can ask questions via chat box.
청소년들에 대한 격려와 응원의 메시지도 채팅창을 통해 보내주시면 감사하겠습니다.
You can also send support and encouraging messages through the chat box.
인천과 타오이안이 번갈아 가며 발표할 예정이며 그룹 1부터 그룹 3까지 순서대로 진행됩니다.
Incheon and Taoyuan will take turns for the presentations, and it will proceed in the order of Group 1, 2, 3.
먼저 인천 측 청소년부터 발표를 시작하겠습니다.
First will be presentation by Incheon Youth.
기후 변화와 대응을 주제로 발표를 준비한 인천 측의 1번 그룹입니다.
So Group 1 from Incheon will make a presentation on climate action.
네, 자리해 주세요. 네. 발표 시작해 주세요.
We will begin our presentation. Hello, we are Group 1, Jiho Kwon, and
Seoyeon Park.
throughout the presentation, we will be focusing on the subject of climate actions. Starting off, let us introduce the topic of climate change itself and the relative and necessary actions upon the issue. Here we begin.
The presentation will be made with 4 categories. The first one was interest to explain why we need to think about this. The second one is about climate change in Korea and in Taiwan. The climate change is ongoing very fast, and even I could feel its change throughout my life. Let's just look at on how our country has changed. The third one is about each country's countermeasure against this problem. We know most countries are recognized its seriousness and doing its best to systematize its regulation. Same for us, we also need more attention on efforts the state is making. The last one is speaking about what we can to deal with the climate change problem. An individual alone cannot bring the change, but collective cooperation can make it.
Any thoughts about climate action, specifically the goal number 13 in the scheme of the Sustainable Development Goal? Its primary aim is planning and carrying out countermeasures against the climate change and its consequences. Every country should adapt itself and should be able to solve the climate change issue and natural disasters naturally following from it. Nowadays, the climate change problem is being felt more seriously and its solutions seeming to become more urgent day by day. Now, Climate change is affecting the international community alongside each and every nation around the world. It is throwing the national governments and its economy into chaos, affecting civilians' life and bringing significant amount of losses to our world and the next generation's communities, countries, and citizens. The weather pattern is changing with more anomalies. The sea level is also occurring, and the degree of greenhouse gas emissions is reaching the highest level that we have seen throughout history. The levels and temperatures of various seas are also rising, making the socially excluded classes more vulnerable from the threats. To overcome this, we should strengthen our capacity for self-recovery from natural disaster, especially in developing countries. Since the climate change is a global challenge across borders, we need global-level solutions, and one of its ways would be continuously supporting and aiding the developing countries to move towards low-carbon economies at the earliest point possible.
Among all religions in the world, East Asia has turned out to be hotspot of climate change problems, suffering more natural disaster than others than 50s. Then, how about Korea and Taiwan? Look at the figure 1, and you see Korea's climate change trend on the left side. The average annual temperature during 2010s rose up to 13 degree compared to the 12.2 degree during 1980s, 12.6 degree during 1990s, and 12.8 degree during 2000s. The rise in temperature was observed in most all regions of Korea Peninsula, and the global warming trend was more visible in urban areas. On the figure 2, we see that Korea traditionally was remarked with 4 seasons, but we know it is just a past story. Now we have only 2 seasons. While the spring and fall weathers are disappearing, the summer is becoming longer while the winter is getting shorter. In fact, the days for winter season has decreased by 22 than 100 years ago, with temperature change by 1.6 degree. With such trend, by 2100, we would see the subtropical climate in middle and south regions in Korea. Then, what should we do?
Moving on, then how about Taiwanese climate change? Currently, Taiwan as well is undergoing the severe circumstances of the climate change crisis, just like Korea and various nations. The Taiwanese branch of Greenpeace, a famous international environmental organization, has disclosed its prospective sea level change caused by global warming. Additionally, it is also warned unless Taiwan takes certain actions to reduce CO2 emission, its sea level would rise by 0.56 meters by 2050. Any idea about how dangerous such change is? According to Greenpeace, by then we would no longer be able to attend and visit the famous touristic landmarks like Taichung River, Suway Fishing Port, Fort Zealandia, and Kaohsiung 85 Sky Tower. Taiwanese students, are you shocked? And here we would like to ask the same question too. What should we do then?
With all those, I think everyone now has understand the seriousness of climate crisis in Korea and Taiwan. So unless we cooperate to solve it, the human being and our environment would get damaged beyond our imagination. So let us explain about climate change solution that other countries are seeking and possible alternatives.
The unprecedented events like sea level rising, corals extinction, and continuously rising temperatures are being observed all over the world. The left photo is showing the Minister of Tuvalu appealing of nationwide damages by sea level rise. As being used to be a place accessible without being soaked by water, it is no longer so. The same crisis of land encroachment is also affecting other Oceanian islands like the Pacific Marshall Islands, Kiribati, and the Maldives of the Indian Ocean, not just Tuvalu. The second photo is showing the coral, which is often depicted as the flower of sea. And the joint research team on worldwide coral ecosystem has found that coral is disappearing due to sea level rise in the report published back in February of 2022. and all those dangers are being caused by a single issue, global warming.
From now on, I will explain the response to climate change that we need to do. As explained earlier, the response to climate change has become a very important issue for us. Therefore, many countries are currently taking its reaction. A good example is carbon neutrality policy. Many countries around the world, including the United States and Europe, are participating in paying attention to carbon neutrality issue.
Now, I'll move on to explaining upon the actions we can make as an individual for the Earth and its environment. First of all, there are three main categories. The first one is unplugging. With more electricity usage, the Earth's temperature would rise even further, and that explains why people are actively running the campaign called Earth Hour. Through this campaign, it is recommended to turn off the light for at least 1 hour or longer to allow rest on the Earth. Same for us, reducing unnecessary electricity usage with plug off, the climate change problem can be lessened. Second action we can take is planting pine trees. As they are extremely efficient and capable of absorbing carbon dioxide, we hope it will effectively reduce the carbon dioxide rates by utilizing the pine trees. The third and final action we can take is simply showering more quickly. The longer we do it, the more water we waste. Shortening shower time for a minute, 12 liters of water is saved. Also, using cups when brushing teeth, at least 5 liters of water can be saved. Nowadays, we are no longer free from drought due to climate change, so saving water is becoming more and more important. We would encourage everyone to practice the actions we recommended to join the movement against climate change.
Until now, we have learned about the climate change problems and possible solutions. We hope that our presentation were very helpful for all of you living a lost world. It is ourselves who create our sustainable world. Thank you for listening.
네, 발표를 준비한 친구들을 위해 다시 한번 큰 박수 부탁드립니다.
Another big round of applause for the presentation.
다음은 평화, 정의, 포용과 해양 생태계 보전을 주제로 발표를 준비한 타오이안 측 1번 그룹입니다.
Next will be from Taoyuan, Group 1, who will make a presentation on peace, justice, and strong institutions and life below water.
Hello everyone, we are Group 1. Hello everyone, we are Group 1. Here is our theme outline. Our first topic is life below water. At first, let's watch a short video which is about human and ocean.
那个开始的地方就是。
We can measure the damage caused by man-made impacts in the ocean alone. Many cultures, such as whales, birds, even the sea scientists. Maybe people may think literally the trash doesn't harm the marine environment, but do ocean collect garbage will be brought to all around the world. But why? Oh. Okay. Okay. It is deduced that the circle of the pollution the ocean is caused by man-made waste with ocean currents. The circle of garbage. It's still after mankind by the full chain in nature. Why makes the marine environment suffer? Oh, 这下也好。没有办法，我也这么觉得。直接跳到Our second topic is war and peace. If it involves an interest of yours, which will you choose, peace or war? The picture is the icon of the Taliban organization. The war of the Taliban against the U.S. met countless soldiers. People died in the warfare. People tried their best to escape from Afghanistan. As shown in the picture, the crowd squeezed into the flight, regardless of the risk of falling.
As shown in the picture on the left, we can see rescue that soldiers do to help those who are in need. The impact of wars make people lose their family and homes. People got lost in reality. This is Russia's geographical location, and in the bottom left of the page, we can find that not only men, but also women are all caught up to be in a war. There's a pizza. This is my favorite. Ukraine desires political freedom, while Russian Federation desires the territory of Soviet Unions from the past. It's an activity about writing for human rights. Its purpose is to sacrifice your freedom to defend others. But what's the activity mainly about? But what's the activity mainly about? From the death penalty to free speech, they dedicated to protecting people's human rights. Thank you.
Okay, there is two questions. Question one is what is the activity mentally about? Our answer is from the death penalty to free speech. They protect people's human rights. And then the second question is how can we protect it in the activity? We can write a letter, volunteer, donate, and speak out against injustice worldwide. The people can help the center of conversations by writing. We can make the world better in the future by doing so. And all we are just students. So when you have free time, you can do it. Okay, thank you for your listening.
네, 발표를 준비해준 친구들 위해 다시 한번 박수 부탁드리고요.
Okay, another round of applause for the presentation.
다음은 육상 생태계 보전을 주제로 발표를 준비한 인천 측 2번 그룹입니다.
Now, Group 2 from Incheon will make a presentation on life on land.
Hello, we are Team 2 presenters Seoyoung.
호준.
Here all our team is going to make presentation Life on Land, the goal number 15 for sustainable development. The presentation will be made in following orders. First, we speak about the importance of the goal number 15, and it is followed by concrete cases all over the world. And then we analyze the causes and suggest solutions for international society, Korea and Taiwan. And lastly, we suggest actions we should carry out. First, let me explain what the goal number 15 is about. With this goal, the aims include, first, land ecosystem and biodiversity sustainable protection, preservation, and restoration. Second, recovery and preservation of lands. Third, sustainable forestal management. Finally, preventing desertification.
The forest preservation would allow us to manage natural resources more effectively and to get higher land productivity. Currently, 13 million hectares of forest are lost every year, while 3.6 billion hectares of land are becoming desert due to ongoing natural destruction. Although about 15% of worldwide land is still under full protection, but the biodiversity is still at risk. With the climate change and desertification, which are caused by various human activities like deforestation, the SDGs are at stake. And there is
affecting life and livings for poor people reaching millions. That is why we need the goal number 15.
But at worldwide, we see so many problems on and around land, especially increasing desertification, tropical deforestation, wetland loss, and extinctions are the most relevant issues. Among them, the first concrete case would be the desertification of the Sahel area, which is located at southern margin of Saharan desert and where steppe and savanna climate are mixed. By there, the rapid population growth led people to begin excessive grazing of livestock and logging to obtain fertilities. And those behaviors resulted in soil loss and grassland devastation. With Sahel zone's desertification, the nearest countries like Mali, Niger, and Sudan are getting affected. And according to UN News, this zone is one of the vulnerable ones to climate change in the world. And due to climate change in Sahel, over 80% of its soil has been devastated, so they are no longer cultivable. As a result, the agriculture productivity fell, forcing people to rely on crop imports. That means threat to food security, causing people to suffer from hunger. In addition, it also brought more socio-economic conflicts in countries located in this zone. The second case we would like to address is destruction of Amazon, where over 20% of Earth's oxygen is being generated. By 21st century, its ecosystem destruction led to steep temperature use. Furthermore, it is also driving Amazon to unrecoverable condition with rainfall reduction in its eastern and southern parts and overflows in northwestern zone.
The third case we talk about is yellow sand in Mongolia and China. Traditionally, it used to occur in Gobi or Taklamakan Desert. However, with recent desertification trend of Mongolian grassland, more and more areas are being affected by yellow sand. And the occurrence of yellow dust is bringing a tremendous damage to the industry, because it leads to breakdown of many precision machineries like semiconductor or airplane. During this period, for example, a manufacturer of silicon wafer suffered higher defect rates despite having operated all air purifiers. And yellow dust also results in flight cancellation and troubles in spring season launching. Finally, endangered species increase in many countries. In Korea, there are many endangered species such as Asiatic black bear, otter, leopard, and wolf. And in Taiwan, they include farmland green tree frog, Yangmingshan crab, and Taiwanese leopard. As shown above, many kinds of animals are disappearing. And this can result in aggravation of biodiversity loss with deeper costs in biodiversity and mass extinctions in chain. And their causes not only come from the desert and the creatures alone. It is also explained by climate change, sea level rise, food wasting, and pollutant emissions from industrial facilities. And all those obstacles involve goal number 15. Over 75% of global ice has been degenerated. The seas have become polluted and 85% of wetlands have been lost.
Also, the expansion of global trade and consumption, population growth, rapid urbanization, overfishing, development policies of coast, and climate crises are damaging the land and sea. To deal with those problems, various efforts are being made at worldwide level, and each most common example includes regulation, setting through international agreements. So we would like to talk about 3 conventions related to Goal 15. The first one is Climate Change Convention. It aims to prevent global warming by restricting emissions of greenhouse gases, including carbon dioxide, and its content consists of the following: basic principles, methods for regulating greenhouse gas, financial and technical cooperation for gas reduction, and considerations of countries facing more obstacles in implementation. All of each member countries should report their annual amount of emissions and removal to Convention Committee and also draw out national plan to combat climate change. And next case is UN Convention to combat desertification. It aims to controlling exploitation and abuse of the mother nature in order to prevent desertification. And it also pursues international cooperation to boost financial and technical support for developing countries who suffer from desertification and devastation. Accordingly, member countries are asked to set anti-desertification strategy in coherence and its integration with anti-poverty schemes.
The last case is about Ramsar Convention, an international agreement calling for conservation and wise use of wetland. Accordingly, the wetland is defined as marshlands and mudflats with water depths below 6 meters in the low state of tides in the seas or rivers. And it requires member countries to preserve their wetlands and also cross-border waterbirds as an important international resource for it. Besides, there are also environment campaigns held by World Natural Fund, such as Earth Hour. The campaign is held every year on the last Saturday of March. It is a symbolic nature conservation campaign that reflects the meaning of climate change by turning off the lights for an hour on the day. Even if an hour seems less once a year, the effect will be doubled if everyone in the world participates actively.
There are similar systems and activities in Korea too, but Korea is relatively focusing more on the policies for biodiversity. For example, in Daejeon City, its wetlands inhabited by natural monuments and endangered species were designated as national wetland reserves where ecosystem-disturbing creatures would be eradicated. In addition, the city government is promoting creation of cultural parks as ecological red space, restoration of urban ecosystem, formation of recreational forests to meet increasing demands for refreshing and recreation, zero waste movement aiming to minimize trashes in daily life, vigilance enforcement for environmental protection.
Meanwhile, Taiwan is pursuing the sustainable and pro-environmental economy model with motto circulative economic trend. For that, it is promoting economic paradigms transition towards the circulative economy, preparing a resource recovery and recycling promotion plan, and the circular economy promotion plan. Meanwhile, the case of Liteon, an electronic manufacturer of Taiwan, also tells something. Recently, in cooperation with Penghu, a tourist locality, it began promoting an eco-friendly business with recycling of marine styrofoam wastes as raw materials for keyboard and mouse production. As shown above, Taiwanese people are very conscious with environmental issues, and governmental controls are strong enough.
But what matters most is each individual's efforts. The personal practice in daily life seems the easiest to carry out, but actually not. And one related suggestion is purchasing more of organic ingredients to prevent further land pollution. A lot of people tend to buy pesticide ingredients just for taste or eye feeding, but that would cause more destruction of farmlands. Besides, in this age of technical advance and digitalization, electricity use became a so common part in our life, and saving it is out of interest for most people. But we should do that, preserve natural resources. So when not using machines, let us turn them off. And lastly, we also would like to suggest trying planting and growing plants. This would reduce negative impacts, including many pollutions caused by desertification and green land reduction caused by deforestation.
Even although we see that the land ecosystem preservation is not merely effort only for animals, it is for ourselves. Because most of environmental problems we suffer are connected with it. Just like that, any ecological disruption will affect the whole ecosystem's functionality. The failure of land ecosystem circulation will affect many of our issues, including maritime ecology, global warming, poverty, and peace. Therefore, we need to be more concerned with the environment and make sustainable development not just for our generation, but for future generations that will continue.
Thank you for listening to our girls' presentation.
네, 감사합니다.
Okay, thank you.
다음은 빈곤 종식과 성평등을 주제로 발표를 준비한 타오이안 측 2번 그룹입니다.
Next, Group 2 from Taoyuan will make a presentation on no poverty and gender equality.
Hello everyone, we are the Group 2. Today we will discuss two topics: no poverty and gender equality. The first thing we want to discuss is no poverty.
Hi everyone, I'm Jackson. First, let me begin by explaining what is poverty. Before I start, does anyone know what is poverty? Okay, no one. That's why we are sitting here today, although today is Saturday. And I want to ask Cha Wu Bing a question. Which is poverty you think? 他接到了，我继续。我问他问题。Okay. Let's first look at a picture on the left. We can see a kid. He doesn't have clean water to drink. And this situation often occurs in some black world country like Africa. It could make them sick, even die. I think this is very serious problem. By the way, more than 2.4 billion people in the world is poverty, but the world total population is only 7.7 billion. Don't you think this is ridiculous? And then let's look at the picture on the right. In my opinion, this is poverty because money is necessitated in your daily life, isn't it? For example, why do we work so hard? Because we need money to support our daily life.
We all know there are poverty problems in the world. And what is it in Taiwan? Let's take a look at the first picture. There are many homeless people sleep on the road. Some of them don't have any money. And then the situation will become to the second picture, like some beggars beg on the roadside. If people don't donate land, they may have a hungry stomach.
The government have two ways to help homeless people. The first way, please see the picture on the left. It's that the government will give homeless people some jobs to do, like local grade. The second way, please see the picture on the right. It's that the government will prepare food without paying to distribute to these homeless people.
At the end, let's talk about what can we do, and we saw two ways. The first one is donate money. It's the most direct, but we just a student. We don't have too much money, so just do your best, like $1 or $10 a day. The second one is join the charity. Join the charity is cheaper and effective and voluntary. And sometimes maybe you can learn something from others. Sounds pretty good, right?
The next topic is gender equality. It's an ongoing problem all over the world. And to go into the specifics,
In that picture, we can see like these people are all friends despite being different genders. And the other picture shows this person expressing their gender in a special way. And sometimes people who do this get treated differently, which is something people face on a daily basis.
and things like that could lead to gender bullying. For example, the Yuri Nanjing incident. That happened in Taiwan. It was a campus incident involving sexual liability issue in Taiwan. Incheon, third-grade student of Incheon-Taoyuan in Fashion Village, National Township, Incheon-Taoyuan, was bullied by some classmates because of gender non-conformity. And it shows bullying towards people who express themselves in different ways. And workplace sexism could turn into even more serious things like the lack of women for people who identify as specific genders. And problems of that could even cause people's deaths.
And to solve these problems, our government has set out related laws and campaigns advocacy to let people have the right insight so that we can avoid things like this from happening again.
That brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you for your attention. It was a pleasure being here today. Thank you, guys.
네, 감사합니다.
Thank you.
다음은 평화, 정의, 포용을 주제로 발표를 준비한 인천 측 3번 그룹입니다.
Next, Group 3 from Incheon will make a presentation on peace, justice, and strong institutions.
Dear all, we are the Team 3, and I'm Bagirum. And here, this is Serenlim. Among subjects related Sustainable Development Goal, we choose number 16, dealing with peace, justice, and strong institution. Do you think the world is peaceful by now? And what is the peace? A world without conflict, a world free from accidents, and are we in peace by now? Not the whole world is always peace. Sometimes we suffer from accidents or conflicts. So what do we need to do to reduce such conflicts? Let's find out peace together. But before talking about main points, first, let me tell you about subject order. First of all, I would like to discuss the natural peace, justice, and tolerance. Secondly, we would like to talk about the conflicts or accidents all over the world. And lastly, let me summarize the attitudes we should hold to our peace. Then, let me begin with explanation on goal number 16. Basically, it deals with peace, justice, and strong institution. It aims at eradicating all forms of violence, reducing morality, and guaranteeing equal access to everyone. It also pursues developing trustable and transparent systems which are free from corruption and bribery, and ensuring inclusive and participatory decisions. And what about the details? More than detail, there are 10 specific goals, but we will discuss only 3 since the time is not enough. They are as follows. Morality reduction by eradication all kinds of violence, raising arrest rate for heavy crimes such as homicide, robbery, assault, rape, and theft up to 79%. Eradicating all violence and totals, including abuse, exploitation, and trafficking of children in Korea. Its detection ratio is very low, and child abuse is still a serious issue. Eradication of corruption and bribery. In relation with this, in Korea, the measurement scale of national transparency is being developed. In addition, the goal 16 also includes violence prevention through international corruption, crimes eradication, and legal anti-discrimination and law system improvements as practice objective. But despite such commitment, there are costs not in the line with the guidelines. For example, recently, the bribery event occurred at the Korea Land and Housing Corporation. And from 2019 to 2021, its corruption case has been found at least once per month for every employee. From 2019 to 2020, the rivalry cases reached 23. With this case, we see that many efforts and still in need. Then let us move to violence issues all over the world. In fact, unpeaceful incidents are occurring all over the world. And one of its good examples involves several kidnapping case in Philippines. Regarding the events in Korea, several lovers killed currency exchange agent and fled to Philippines. And there, they used the stolen money to keep kidnapping and murdering. With those crimes committed beyond border, it seems that this world is still far from the peace.
Next, let me talk about an event in Taiwan. Bai Xiaowen, the daughter of Taiwanese actor Bai Bingbing, was kidnapped. The criminal kidnapped, raped, and brutally murdered her. Before killing her, they boldly demanded the ransom and once cut her pinky finger and sent it to her mother. So many crimes are happening around the world. Then take a closer look at the world's crime rate. In terms of murder cases per 100,000 people, the following countries are showing the highest rate. Venezuela, 83.76%, Papua New Guinea, 80.79%, South Africa, 79% is 76.86%, Afghanistan 76.31%. What a surprise that somewhere the crime rate could be so high, don't you think so? In addition, the problem of refugees caused by wars and conflict as well as crimes is increasing. Many countries accept refugees, but their people protest for that. They oppose accepting refugees for fear of employment loss and potential conflict for culture and origin, and finally, because of the danger of exposure to terrorism. What do you think about the cases and events we mentioned so far? Don't you think that sometimes we're too indifferent with peace issues just because we are not in the war and not refugees? In that regard, I think we need some reflection and introspection on ourselves. And lastly, I want to talk about the minds we need for a peaceful world. First, at national level, we think the state should strive for international cooperation and regulations for peace. In addition, it should also enforce regulations for anti-corruption and anti-violence. And what about personal efforts we can practice? I say tolerance and inclusive mind. Don't forget that all humans are equally dignified. Respect cultural diversity and strive for spread of peace and anti-violence culture. And in daily life, the peace would come from our engagement. Keep caring for our community and those around us. Most of you might have heard the phrase, your small helping hand will be big enough for someone. When you find anyone in need of help, do not hesitate to give a hand. They might be your classmates who are bullied in schools or neighbors suffering from racism. The peace does not always mean something big or grand. Your small care can be of great help to someone who are struggling. And remember, the world is not in peace just because nothing happens to you. Peace is something that we all make. This is the end of our presentation by Group 3 Serin Lim.
Thank you so much for listening our presentation. And I am Bagirum. Thank you.
네, 감사합니다.
Thank you.
다음은 기아 종식과 양질의 교육을 주제로 발표를 준비한 타오이안 측 3번 그룹입니다.
Next, Group 3 from Taoyuan will make a presentation on zero hunger and quality education.
Hello everyone, we're Group 3 and today we're Group 3 and today we're talking about quality education. The quality education has 3 points. The first one is to make sure The first one is make sure all people have employed ability skills. The second one is all students can get a fair and high quality education. And the last one is make sure all the people are literate and arithmetic.
For example, Dongyan Junior High School. There were many problems about the law in the past. Obviously, as such as students learning at the is not good. Obviously, the students' vulnerability will affect parents' decision of their children of let their children study in this school or not. So the population of this school will become lower and lower. In addition to the parents' decisions, teachers will also be affected. If parents don't let their children study in the school, the teacher won't just sit there in office and watch computer all day, right? So they transfer to business. There are more opportunity for them to teach. Fortunately, all of this will change after the new principal comes. The principal's leading methods have made us more better. For instance, they build dormitory for students and maybe start some special skills courses.
And here we have some ideas to solve the education problem. The first one is develop online courses. In Taiwan, we have less postclass or GD education website to help the students learning online. The second one is endless school basic requirements. In Taiwan, most of the schools have computers and projection screens to help the teacher teach students in. And the third one is subsidized road transportation. In Taiwan, some of the schools have improved to help the students get to school. The last one is parent and teacher conference. These activities can help the parents know how their kids are doing at school.
And finally, we have two questions. Question 1. What's the name of the school we introduced today? And the answer is Taoyuan Junior High School. And question 2. How do we improve the quality education? And the answer is this.
And the answer is develop online courses at the school's basic equipment, subsidized school transportation, or parent-teacher conference.
Okay, hello everyone. Today I want to show you the topic of independent content. First, I want to let you know the problem posed by hunger. According to the United Nations, a child dies of hunger every 5 seconds. In the left side is the global hunger index. To this picture, the closer you get to orange, the more alarming it is.
In the right side, 10 of millions of children go to bed hungry. 50,000 children die of malnutrition, more than 5 million. People die each year from hunger, most of them is a child under 5 years old. The World Food Day is on October 16. This same day was established to arouse the world's great attention to the development of food and agriculture.
The second is in Taiwan we have food banks. Food bank is a product donate out of season food to food bank after the food bank organize and divide them into groups where they serve in need. And food bank slogan is no waste, no hunger.
In 2010, the Taiwan government proposed a 10-year plan to heavily pesticides and pest organic agriculture promotion law.
We also have two questions. The question one is what is the slogan of the food bank we introduced today? And question two is why do you think food banks were created? Question one answer the question one of answer is no waste, no hunger. And answer two is there is no specific answer, so you can really answer. Thank you for listening.
네, 수고하셨습니다.
Thank you.
네. 이렇게 모든 청소년들의 발표를 들어보았습니다.
So we listened to all the presentations.
열심히 발표를 준비한 양 도시의 청소년들에게 다시 한번 뜨거운 박수 부탁드립니다.
So please, a warm round of applause for the youth of two cities for their presentations.
이어서 질의응답 시간을 갖겠습니다.
So next will be a Q&A session.
혹시 제가 그룹별로 질문을 준비해달라고 말씀드렸는데요.
So I asked each group to prepare a question that you'd like to make.
혹시 인천 1번 그룹에서는 어떤 질문을 준비하셨을까요? 준비된 게 혹시 있을까요?
Incheon Group 1, do you have any question?
네, 그러면 인천 측 청소년부터 1번 그룹 타오이안 1번 그룹 청소년들에게 질문하겠습니다.
So Incheon Group 1 will ask a question to Taoyuan Group 1. Okay, you can make questions to other groups as well.
So my first question is for the first group of Taiwan. It would be any specific thoughts on the solution to this plastic pollution and its vicious cycle?
플라스틱 사용에 대한 것과
Specific
그거에 대해서 좀 구체적인 어떤 해결 방법이 무엇이라고 있을까요?
Any specific thoughts on the solution to this plastic pollution and its vicious cycle?
타오이안 답변 가능하실까요?
Can we listen to the answer from Taoyuan Group?
죄송합니다. 질문을 다시 다시 한번 드릴 수 있나요?
Any specific thoughts on the solution to
한국말로 해주세요.
알겠습니다. 그죠? 그래야 더.
네, 감사합니다.
플라스틱 폴루션에 대해서 그 직접적인 해결 방안이 있는지.
有没有解决方案？他刚才说的那个名字。对，刚才那个他刚才说的，你们有听到那个英文名字？他们说的有没有什么解决方案？哎，你们有没有什么解决方案？有没有想到的解决方案？什么东西的比什么东西的比잠시만요. 이거 봐요.
혹시 지금 답변하기 어려우면 타오이안 측 질문 먼저 저희가 들을까요?
네, 지금 토론하고 있어요. 죄송해요.
네, 조금 기다리겠습니다.
네, 감사합니다.
타오이안 측에서는 그 한국어 선생님이 통역 도와주고 계세요. 학교에서.
直接讲，就是我们可以透过净滩的活动，然后呢，去将海洋周边的一些垃圾先去清空它，然后不要再让更多的垃圾进入海洋。
일단은 우리 그 해변 바닷가에서 있는 쓰레기를 모두 우리 청소하고 그러면 그 쓰레기를 바다에 들어가지 않잖아요. 그러면 그 바다에 있는 쓰레기를 줄일 수 있다고 생각합니다.
아, 그 바다의 플라스틱 쓰레기 문제를 우리가 어떻게 해결할 수 있는지에 대한 방안을 좀 물어보셨는데 우리
네.
선에서 해결할 수 있는 것은 바닷가에 있는 쓰레기를 우리가 좀 청소를 하면은 바다 안으로 플라스틱 쓰레기가 유입되지 않지 않을까 하는 답변을 주셨네요. 지호 친구 답변
네.
되셨을까요? 예, 오케이, 감사합니다. 혹시 그러면 타오이안 측에서도 우리 친구들에게 하실 질문이 있으시다면 부탁드립니다.
그러면 이제 첫 번째 팀한테 질문이 하나 있는데 기온 올라가면서 일상생활에서 어떤 영향이 있는지 궁금합니다.
1번 그룹 기후 관련 해준 친구들한테 기온이 올라가면 우리 일상생활에 어떤 영향이 있는지에 대해서 답변해 주세요.
그 아까 얘기했듯이 2050년까지 0.56m의 그 sea level이 rise 하는 것 같이 그 기후 변화가 계속 지속된다면 이에 대한 피해도 계속 일어나게 될 거고 이런 environment에 대한 climate change가 결국 우리한테 돌아오기 때문에 그 행동들이 더더욱 우리한테 피해가 될 거라고 봅니다.
네. 하면서
네.
那个气温如果持续向上的话，他们就是跟他们报告里面有说的，2050年的话，他们海平面会上升到一定的程度，就会对他们的生活产生蛮大的影响，这样子。네, 감사합니다.
네, 감사합니다. 네, 그러면 2번 그룹도 한번 질문을 해볼게요. 2번 그룹 친구들, 타오이안 친구들한테 어떤 질문을 할까요? 맞죠?
그 터전을 잃은 아이들 또는 사람들은 누구고 또 대부분 어떻게 살아가고 있는지가 궁금합니다.
죄송해요. 네, 다시 한번.
그룹 원입니다.
그룹 1에게 질문하신다고요?
예. 터전을
다시
잃은
한번
사람들은 누군지 또 그 사람들은 대부분 어떻게 살아가고 있는지가 알고 싶습니다.
잘 안 들려서 다시
네,
한번.
제가 말씀드릴게요.
네, 네, 네.
터전을 잃은 사람들은 누구인지 그리고 그들은 어떻게 살아가고 있는지 질문했습니다. 그룹 1에게 질문했어요.
对第一组提问，他说：哦， 잠깐만요. 어떤 사람이 누구인지요?
터전을 잃은
啊，他说应该是因为战争失去了家人的那些人有谁，然后是现在状况怎样？跟第一组对第一组提问。
哎，你直接讲吧。我觉得，那个阿富汗战争，虽然已经，虽然已经看似是平息的状态，但是民族之间的那种紧张感还是依然存在。所以我们不能因为，一个战争的结束，就松懈下来，我们还是必须造就民族之间可以和平共存的一个目的。
네, 다시 그 질문을 한번 확인해 볼게요. 그 전쟁에 대한 질문인가요? 아니면
전쟁에 대한 질문일까요?
아니면
아니면
예, 전쟁에 대한 질문이 맞습니다.
전쟁에 대한 질문
네,
맞습니다.
네, 지금 이 친구 답변은 전쟁은 이미 끝난 것 같지만 미래에도 뭐 나라의 그 대립은 끝나지 않을 것 같다고 그래서 계속 노력해야 한다고 생각합니다. 네, 이렇게 답변했습니다.
네, 전쟁은 앞으로도 일어날 수 있는 문제이기 때문에 그것에 대해서 계속해서 생각해야 된다는 그런 답변 맞으시겠죠?
네.
네, 감사합니다. 혹시 타오이안 측 그룹 2번에서 저희 쪽에 질문해 주실 게 있으실까요?
第二组有对他们有什么提问吗？第二组的提问是哪个？我的题目，我想希望是。
I want to ask ground to a question. Are there any animal incurring are endangered because of climate change?
잘 들리세요?
네, 들립니다. 멸종
네.
위기에 있는 동물이 혹시 한국에 있을까요?
네네네.
우리 저기 친구 몇 번 그룹에 질문을 주셨죠? 타오이안 친구 혹시 몇 번 그룹에 질문을 주셨을까요?
是第几组？那你对他们的第几组？
2번 그룹에 질문 주셨다고 합니다.
네, 두 번째 팀이요.
네.
네.
지금 한국에서 멸종 위기에 처해 있는 동물 중에는 반달 가슴곰, 그리고 수달, 그리고 표범, 늑대 등이 있습니다.
네. 네, 감사합니다. 他说现在韩国有正在灭种危机的动物是水獭，然后花豹，然后狼，还有一些熊。
그리고 답변 되셨을까요?
네네네.
네, 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
그리고 덧붙여서 말씀을 드리면 저희가 기념품으로 보내드린 USB와 마그넷 있잖아요. 거기에 있는 동물도 점박이 물범이란 동물인데 개체수가 적어서 천연 기념물로 지정이 되어 있습니다.
他们送的那个 USB 还有磁铁上面就是韩国特有种，现在是韩国特有种的海豹。对。
네, 감사합니다. 그러면
네,
이제 그룹
감사합니다.
3번 질문 한번 해볼게요. 그룹 3번 준비되셨죠? 네.
네, 안녕하세요. 3조의 엄다민입니다. 저희는 대만 측의 3조에 질문을 드리고 싶은데요. 대만은 코로나 사태로 인한 교육 단절에 대해서 어떻게 대처했는지 궁금합니다.
코로나의 대책이요?
코로나 상황에서
네.
교육이 학교를 못 가거나 하는 교육 단절 상황이 있었는데 그것에
네.
어떻게 대안을 마련하셨을까요?
对，对第三组的提问是，就是在 那个武汉肺炎之后啊，大家那个有一段时间不是不能来学校吗？那政府是怎么做对策的？就是我们的教育是怎么持续进行的？
Okay. Our government choose to use the website, just like our representation mentioned. The website, just like Junyi or Taipei Cookout, or Google Meet.
아, 웹사이트나 화상회의 같은 방법으로 교육이 계속 이루어지도록 했다는 말씀이시죠?
네, 맞아요.
네, 감사합니다. 답변 되셨을까요?
네, 감사합니다.
네. 자, 그러면 타오이안 측의 3번 그룹에서도 저희 측에 주실 질문 있으실까요?
第三组，有其他问题吗？第三组有没有要问他们哪一组的什么问题，或者是其他组的也没关系，有问他们第三组跟他们第三组相关的问题。问他们放学时间，也是。有吗？
I want to ask the group one. I just heard you say that the temperature in South Korea is getting higher. So are you affected now?
혹시 다시 한번 말씀해 주실 수 있을까요?
你现在问说，他们的政府对他们的气候变化有什么政策吗？这个影响他们刚回答过，就是未来会有海平面上升政策。그러면 그 기후 변화 심한데 지금 한국 정부에서 기후 변화를 예방하는 정책이 뭐 있는지 궁금합니다.
한국이 기후변화에 대응하는 정책은 무엇을 펼치고 있는지 혹시 답변 가능하실까요? 3번? 1번? 1번인가요? 기후변화? 맞죠? 혹시 한국의 기후변화 관련 정책이 무엇이 있는지 한번 답변 가능할까요? 혹시 아니면 우리나라의 기후변화 정책에 대해서 알고 있는 게 있는 친구 있으면은 답변 다른 뷰에서 해주셔도 될 것 같아요.
간단하게 말씀해 주셔도
해볼래요?
괜찮습니다.
저희 쪽 그 발표를 준비한 조는 아닌데 다른 조의
네.
친구가 답변 간략하게 해드리겠습니다.
네, 감사합니다.
네, 일부 저도 정확한 건 잘 아니지만 일부 기업에서는 현재 플라스틱을 줄이려고 노력하고 있고요. 특히 대한민국에서는 11월부터 이제 플라스틱 사용을 줄이려고 빨대나 아니면 비닐봉지 같은 거를 못 쓰게끔 제도를 제도를 제정하고 있는 걸로 알고 있습니다.
对，감사합니다。他说，现在韩国也在推行，就是禁止使用塑胶的餐具或者是袋子、吸管这些东西，来减缓他们的环境的破坏。对，감사합니다。
네, 감사합니다. 자, 혹시 더 질문 있으신지 인천 친구들 더 질문 있으실까요? 네, 인천 친구들은 없다고 합니다. 혹시 타오이안 친구들 질문 더 있으실까요?
还有其他问题吗？还有其他问题吗？ 마지막 질문 하나만 부탁드릴게요.
아, 네, 알겠습니다.
네.
那个想问第三，那个你们韩国绑架刑期是几年？因为台湾的法则很轻，所以想知道你们那边是要几年，而且你们同意这个年份吗？
그 그룹 3한테 질문이에요. 그 한국에서 킷냅 이런 그 사건 발생하면 몇 년 징역이에요? 보통? 왜냐면 대만은 아주 뭐 몇 년 안 되고 나와요.
아, 한국에서 납치가 발생하면
네.
얼만큼의 징역을 사는지가 궁금한 건데 아마 이건 또
네.
성인이냐 뭐 이런 미성년자냐 이런 거에 따라서 다를 것 같긴 한데 이거에 대해서 조사한 바는 따로 없으시죠?
그럼 지금 아는 대로 답변해 주세요. 아니면 지금 징역 기간은 마음에 드는지 만족하는지 더 길게 징역해야 하는지 이렇게 생각 있으세요?
혹시 그러니까 징역 수준에 대해 잘 모르고 있다면 어떻게 징역해야 된다고 생각하는지.
일단 첫 번째 질문부터 답변드리겠습니다. 20년도에 일어났었던 여성 납치 인질극으로 30대가 징역 9년을 받았던 적도 있고 또 4일 전에는 징역으로 12년형과 10년을 받았던 기사도 있습니다.
네. 그럼 이 9년 징역, 12년 징역은 어떻게 생각하세요?
제 법 앞에서 제 주관적인 생각을 말하기 좀 그렇긴 한데
네.
당연히 법은 더 세져서 납치가 안 일어나도록 당연히 더 세져야 된다고 생각하고요. 그러나 물론 이런 일이 안 생기게끔 교육을 하는 게 제일 좋을 것 같다고 생각합니다.
네, 감사합니다.他们最近有发生的那个判刑的案例是9年、12年这种比较长的，应该比台湾长，不知道。那他说他觉得应该要再更重一点，但是最基本还是要从教育开始做起。对。
네, 감사합니다.
Okay. Thank you.
그럼 이것으로 질의응답 시간을 마치겠습니다.
So we will wrap up the Q&A session here.
이제 청소년들이 SDGs 이행을 위해 약속한 Better Future Challenge의 챌린지 행동 선언을 하겠습니다.
Now the youth will announce the challenge actions for Better Future Challenge.
양 도시의 청소년들은 포럼 개최일인 10월 22일 토요일부터 SDGs의 주요 목표의 개수와 같은 17일 후인 11월 7일 월요일까지 그룹별로 정한 챌린지 행동을 실천할 예정입니다.
From October 22, Saturday, which is the date of the forum, to November 7th, Monday, which is 17 days exactly, which is also the number of SDG goals, the youth of both cities will practice the challenge actions they set in groups.
각 그룹은 인천광역시와 타오유안시 청소년들이 연합하여 구성되어 있습니다.
The groups are composed by the combination of youth from Incheon and Taoyuan.
그룹 대표들은 챌린지 행동 선언을 준비하여 주시기 바랍니다.
The group representatives, please prepare for the challenge action announcement.
그럼 그룹 1번부터 순서대로 챌린지 행동을 선언하겠습니다.
Starting from group 1, challenge action will be announced.
먼저 탄소 중립을 위한 BMW 챌린지를 준비한 타오이안의 아이기 부탁드립니다.
First will be IG from Taoyuan, which will be about BMW challenge for carbon neutrality.
Hello, everyone. I'm IG from Group 1. Yep. Today, we're going to discuss about the public transportation and for whom we discuss about students in elementary school. And we should educate them by taking more public transportations, and it can protect the environment and reduce the carbon CO2. Yeah, anytime before 11/7, this November 7th is very good. Yeah, and yeah, thank you for listening.
네, 감사합니다.
Thank you.
다음은 탄소 중립을 위한 라이트 오프 챌린지를 준비한 그룹 2번 부탁드립니다.
Next will be Group 2, which prepare the challenge to turn off the lights for carbon neutrality.
파이팅.
What our team plan is light of challenge. To take part this challenge, everyone in team 2 have to turn lights off every day 7 p.m. Wherever you are. Even you are at school. This campaign is for reducing CO2 and save electricity. I want that not only him too, but everyone in this place join this campaign together. Ah. Sorry, I'm nervous. We have to turn off the lights for 5 minutes. Every day 7 p.m. I'm sorry to speak poor. Thank you for listening my poor introduction.
네, 감사합니다.
Okay, thank you.
네, 다음은 식량 낭비를 막기 위한 식사 남기지 않기 챌린지를 준비한 그룹 3번 부탁드립니다.
So next will be Group 3, which prepared a challenge to prevent food waste.
Hello, I am Group 3, Park Irum. Our challenge is about the zero hunger. This challenge is very simple. First, just after your meal time, then take your photo for your empty dish. We should stop waste our food. The food is wasting all over the world now too. That is why we choose this challenge. Even another team, please join our challenge too, please. We should stop wasting our food. This challenge's name is Empty Dish Food. And thanks for listening.
네. 여러분이 일상 속에서 함께하는 작은 실천이 지속 가능한 세상을 만드는 데 큰 힘이 되기를 바랍니다.
We hope your small practices in daily life lead to big changes in making a sustainable world.
벌써 오늘 포럼을 마무리할 시간이 되었는데요.
We are nearing the end of the forum already.
개회식 때 타오이안 친구가 환영사를 해주셨는데 혹시 인천 쪽 친구들의 중에서도 소감을 말해볼 친구 있나요?
So the welcoming remarks was made by Taoyuan youth. So do we have any from Incheon to briefly say a word?
하고 싶은 사람? 한국말로 해도 돼요. 가위바위보 할 거야. 안 내면 진 거, 셋이 안 내면 진 거 가위바위보. 가위바위보. 이긴 사람 앞으로 나오세요. 네. 한국의 최호준 친구가 소감을 말하겠다고 합니다.
제가 영어를 잘 못해서 한국말로 말씀드리는 점 양해 부탁드립니다.
So I'm not very fluent in English. I'm very sorry that I have to speak in Korean.
이번 교류 프로그램을 통해서 처음으로 이렇게 외국 친구들하고 대화도 나눠보고 또 이 친구들은 어떻게 생각하는지도 들어보면서 제가 지금까지 평생 듣고 자라온 한국이라는 세상을 벗어나서 더 넓은 세상을 볼 수 있었던 좋은 경험이었던 것 같습니다.
So through this international exchange program, it was the first time that I was able to converse with our foreign friends and hear their thoughts. And also it was a very good experience and opportunity for me to be able to think beyond Korea, which I was so familiar with all my lifetime.
그리고 마지막으로 지금까지 이 프로그램을 진행하면서 앞에 나와서 이렇게 연설을 할 때 자주 말 더듬고 어떤 점은 죄송하고요. 아무튼 즐거웠습니다. 네. Thank you.
And lastly, I kind of stuttered when I came in front to make the presentations, but thank you for your understanding, and I really would like to say that it was a great experience. Thank you.
네, 감사합니다. 코로나19 상황 속에서도 가치 있는 교류 활동을 위해 열심히 준비한 청소년 여러분, 관계자 여러분, 이 시간 이후 포럼은 종료되지만 앞으로도 더 나은 세상을 위해 함께 해주시리라 믿습니다.
So, dear youth and relevant members who made all the preparations despite COVID for valuable exchanges, although the forum ends here, I believe you will all participate in making a better future.
Better Future 챌린지는 오늘부터 11월 7일까지 진행될 예정이며 각 도시의 청소년들은 그룹별로 정한 챌린지 행동을 실천하여 사진으로 남겨주세요.
So Better Future Challenge will be held until November 7, and youth of each city should practice the challenge actions and leave photographs.
인천 측 청소년들은 박혜진 선생님께, 타오유안 측 청소년들은 황페이웨이 선생님께 사진을 제출하면 됩니다.
So the youth from Incheon should submit photographs to instructor Park Hae-jin, and youth of Taoyuan should submit the photographs to instructor Hwang Pei-wei.
마지막으로 화면을 보면서 기념 촬영을 해보겠습니다.
So lastly, we are going to take a commemorative group photographs while looking at the screen.
자, 모두 국기를 흔들거나 손을 흔들어 주세요.
Okay, please everyone wave your hand or the flags that you have.
네. 자, 1, 2, 3, V. 그리고 손으로 V도 한번 만들어 주세요.
And now make a V with your fingers.
우리도 가까이 네네, 얘들아 가까이 올까요? 일로?
잠깐만요.
잠깐 기다려 주세요. Please wait.
세영아. 네, 됐습니다.
자, 찍겠습니다. 1, 2, 3. 찰칵. V 해주세요. V. 자, 그리고 화이팅. 하나, 둘, 셋. 화이팅. 네, 감사합니다.
Okay,
Thank you, everyone. 네, 이렇게 기념 촬영까지 모두 마쳤습니다.
So we even took the commemorative group photos.
이것으로 2022 인천 타오이안 청소년 SDGs 포럼을 모두 마치겠습니다.
So now we will wrap up the 2022 Incheon-Taoyuan Youth SDG Forum.
모두 좋은 주말 보내세요. 감사합니다.
I wish you all a great weekend. Thank you.
We love you. 타이완 넘버.